This is Rusty Bird, 804 expert and just great friend of the show, Lee Mary from BALLINVA with us. Welcome to the show, Larry.
What's up? What's up?
Yep. And then my co-host tonight is going to be none other than Jay Gholson, the voice of freedom football and basketball. That's boys and girls. And Jay's going to help me do this since Kirk couldn't make it tonight. But welcome to the show, Jay.
Remember, also, I'm an 804 graduate of the Virginia
804.
Union
I'm an
University.
804 graduate too. I still proudly say 804. But wait a minute, no, hold on. You're 804 graduate. I'm an 804 graduate, but I grew up in the 804. You actually grew up in the 703, right?
Yeah.
Okay, back in the day. But Hampton back in the day was 804.
Yeah, I remember.
It was all good. Yep. Yeah. So we are on YouTube at the Kirk and Byrd Show. You can just Google that. I mean, and YouTube search, do that search. And then we promote a lot of high school sports on the 703-540 high school Facebook page. And Jay, why don't you go ahead and promote some of your stuff, and then we'll get to Larry.
You remember, I'm on the real Prince William County Sports Board. Again, the real Prince William County Sports Board. Of course, I'm in real estate. Jay Gholson and Remax Executives. 703-517-8640.
All right. And now you, Lee Mary, BALLINVA.
Ballin'.
Show. Great show. Real professional.
Very.
Tell us where we can find your stuff. I love it.
Man, I'm somewhere everywhere, man. I'm like Uber. You can find me on YouTube. I'll be under Morissette Media, and also BALLINVA. You can also find me at Lee Mary under Facebook and TikTok. Mainly, you'll find me at on Instagram under BALLINVA _podcast _804. Where Monday Night Live, we have stuff going on, talking to different high school coaches and players. Tuesday Night Live, we got the AAU basketball moms, and also talking to some other coaches as well. So on the girls and boys side, that's where we be at.
Good stuff.
Right. Good. Very excellent, man. Excellent. Hey, Larry knows sometimes I pop up there. I ain't even an invited guest, but I start talking and they bring me in. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, that's how we do it, man. We just raw and uncut.
Yep. It is really, really good stuff. All right, let's go ahead. First, let's start out. Tell us, for not just, I know a lot of your 804 people are going to enjoy this, but if some of us in the rest of the state and the whole DMV too, tell us a little bit about that 804 basketball this year. We'll start out with what have been some of the big games. What games have happened thus far? Were there any going into the season matchups that people were really looking forward to? How did they turn out? I know with a lot of athletes transferring, it's not the same in graduating. It's not the same team that you had the year before. So tell us about some of the games that have already happened, and then let us know what are some of the games that are big games still left on the schedule this season. Because you also got some athletes that may be coming back from injury or whatever, and or the young, or those 9th and 10th graders, those young people are starting to really start to blossom. So what are some of the games that you've been to or that you've been impressed with?
Well, John Marshall is a big dog down here in Boyd still. They fell out of the national rankings last week. They had a big game at St. Christopher's. They got the 6'4" commit, Brandon Jennings, and they lost. I think John Marshall lost about 4 last Friday, and so that kind of knocked John Marshall out of the rankings there. But John Marshall plays that national schedule. They just beat TC the other day up there with you guys at St. James. So they got a big Coaches for Cure tournament February 3rd at the New Henrico Center. Not sure who the opponent is yet, but that is just worth checking out. We still ain't get the John Marshall Byrd game. The John Marshall Varina game, correction. Don't know why. A lot of ifs, ands, who, whatever on that. We won't see that this year again. So the fans are very disappointed about that. But John Marshall playing good basketball.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but wasn't there talk of John Marshall playing Woodside, even if there was like a scrimmage?
They did play it in a scrimmage.
Okay.
That was in October, and John Marshall won that by like 16. So, yeah, but that's about it. That would have been a game that I would like to see during the regular season, but for whatever reason, they couldn't make it happen. So, John Marsh has been playing a lot of these out-of-town teams, Sidwell, Friends, TC, like I said, couple teams down there, North Carolina, Myers Park. They just play a lot of, national ranked teams and stuff like that. Locally, it's not too much that can challenge them. But St. Chris pulled it off last Friday. That game actually was all of a sudden game because that game wasn't a scheduled game. From what I understood, they made it Wednesday and played on Friday.
Wow. Yeah, I talked to you about that. You told me.
I have a question also.
Okay.
I have a question on John Marshall. Is their whole starting lineup Division I talent?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, at least four of them are.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 of them are. One is already commit at Damon Red Thompson is already commit to JMU. Then you got Latrell Almond, sophomore from out of North Carolina, transferred. He came here as a freshman. He's been to the U.S. Olympic camps already. You got Marcus Jackson, 6'9" athletic guy, can just jump out of the gym and dunk on anybody. And then you got the 6-foot guy from up here, transferred in from Northern Virginia, Aiden Algebright. And that guy can fill it up.
Wow.
Yeah, so that guy, he's a junior. So, all that's D1 talent. It's just not the Dennis Parkers or the Jason Rivera's they had last year. Different dynamic, but they still got a really good team.
Okay.
All right. Now we'll get. I know we're going to talk about individual players later, but I did want to, since you mentioned them, that's Brandon Jennings at St. Christopher's.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited as a VCU fan and graduate that he chose my school. He didn't even give a Virginia Union any consideration. That's for Jay, y'all. He spent 6 years at Virginia Union. And then,
oh wow!
No, I didn't. 4.
No, 4. Okay. But no, I just want to ask you. So, is this his first year at St. Christopher's? And I know we're going to talk about players.
I want to say he's been in St. Chris. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. I want to say this is his second or third year. I don't think he's been there all 4 years.
And is he related to the Keith Jennings that played in the league?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, all right. Because I think that Keith Jennings is actually from Virginia.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's from Virginia. Okay, all right, cool. All right, just some questions. I know. I don't know if other people had them, but I thought you were a good source because that name is very familiar and synonymous with great basketball. All right, so were there any other? What about this? What about games coming up? The season we still got about a little less than a month to go. Any games that we should be on the lookout for that involve those 804 squads, boys or girls?
Well, again, on the boys' side, like I said, the talent is down pretty much throughout the state, man. But February 3rd, like I said, the coaches procure that John Marshall have every year at different locations.
Yep.
This year it's going to be at the Henrico Center, that's at Virginia Center, brand new facility there. We're going to live stream it, going to be there, going to do the podcast there live. This year, I was invited to do that. So shout out to John Marshall. Thank you. Team Loaded, thank you. I know the lineup, the featured lineup is going to be John Marshall against, I'm not sure, they haven't had it announced the opponent yet, but the second to the last game will be LC Byrd, which is undefeated, against Varina. And Varina lost one time. They lost to a team out of, I think, Frederick, Maryland. And they lost to them, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So they still got their everything. And KJ White has not committed yet, but that kid has been all state 2 times, all metro, all everything. So that should be a really good game.
I have a question though. You mentioned about Richmond being down. What do you mean by that?
I mean, the talent isn't as great as it used to be. You know, normally you have a great LC Byrd team that have a lot of names. You have John Marshall, of course. John Marshall's going to always be that. Varina, you know, you don't have the big names at Varina. Highland Springs is down. You know, they lost their two transfers. Two of their kids left to go to staff.
Wow.
You know, yeah, was it number 3? What's the guy that was there? Oh my God, the one you guys like was in the state championship game. What's the guy name? Coles, Denzel Coles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He left. He's at staff, and then they lost their point guard. Stewart is pretty good, but just across the board, man, we just don't have it. Manchester's okay. They decent, but just the big name talent that you would have on the 804s, like, okay, we can go challenge that. It just isn't there anymore. It's just like it's John Marshall and everybody else.
But Larry, you're doing that based on the standard that 804 has in basketball, which I can contend is one of the strongest and best parts of the whole state, you know, consistently for the last 20 years. But is that talent still good enough to beat the rest of the state? Because I'm gonna be honest, from what I feel like a lot of the rest of the state is down too. You know, we can talk about some other areas, but you know, Hayfield's not the same Hayfield.
Right.
Minchfield's not the same Minchfield.
Right.
Kickerton is definitely not the same Kickerton we've had over the last couple of years. So with some of those and Patriot, I think is good, and they picked up some good players, and players are stepping up, but it's not the Patriot we've seen the last couple of years. So I just feel like, now again, I think we always kind of feel like this way a little bit coming out of Christmas, but I think, are you still basing it on a Richmond standard? And then, but a lot of these teams still going to be the favorite for a state to win the state championship?
Well, on a Richmond standard, yeah, it's way down. But again, we're probably even with everybody else around the state because, like you just named those teams, everybody is down. So everybody probably can compete. So what that means is we're going to have a lot of parity. But I think that makes great playoff basketball because it's like, all right, we don't have a Dennis Parker that's just cut above everybody else. So now everybody's on the game playing. So that means that we're going to have some great, exciting playoff basketball come state playoff time. So we should get probably some down to the wire type games, which is kind of good. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have that star player, but I think we'll be all right. I mean, I'm not excited about it, but you know.
What about what are some of the teams that what do you consider some of the on the boys and girls side? And we don't need to go like by class or division. Let's just go overall. Who would you consider your top 804 teams on the boys and the girls side? Let's start with the girls.
On the boys side, in no particular order, but you can, if you want to do that, that's fine. Of course, it's John Marshall, St. Chris, LC Byrd, Varina. Then after Varina, then you can pretty much make an argument for Manchester, who won the Highland Springs tournament this year. Henrico has been pretty solid this year. They got a good young team. I think they're going to be really good late, their class for us. They should make some noise. James River, been hearing too much about them. I live right by them. I haven't made my way to see them yet. And Hermitage is ranked, in our local poll too. I haven't seen them either. So, like I said, after that top 4, it's just like everybody else.
Okay. Right.
I've been more on the girls' side.
Well, that's what I would say. Yeah, tell me about the girls' side. Okay.
Yeah. Now on the girls' side, it's pretty much a two-horse race.
Yeah.
You can make an argument for the third one, and that's only because they got a great player, as we described here tonight, is Danny Manny and the Miracles, with Laney Grant over there, James River, the UNC commit. She's going to be playing up there on the Nike EYBL circuit for Tamika Dudley up there at Sidwell Friends. So you'll see her leaving that Under Armour circuit this year. But it's Thomasdale and Manchester.
Thomasdale.
Woo! That Thomasdale is just beating the brakes off of everybody. Yeah, they beat Osborne Park by 40. They beat Freedom by 30. They just got the best two young guards in the state, man. And Savannah Dawson and Natalie Wilson. And then they got this freshman, man. And I'm going to tell y'all like this. If you don't remember anything else, remember her name, Miss Tamani Harris. We are saying, and she is being described as U.S. Olympic talent.
Wow.
And we don't talk like that around here. Last time we had that was Megan Walker. And before that was Taja Cole. So we don't really say that too freely around here. So as a freshman, she's big time, but she's playing behind those two studs, man. And I'm gonna tell you right now, that Region 6 final between Thomasdale and Manchester. So you might as well go ahead and book it. One of those two teams will be state champion this year. Nobody's beating them.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Go ahead, Jay.
Thomasdale, how young are they?
Thomasdale best player, which is Nyla Wilson. She got a lot. I can't send me the offer. She got probably about 20, 25 offers. Majority of a mid-major. She got a lot of power fives looking at her. She's a junior. Savannah Dawson could be considered one of the best players in the state. She's a sophomore.
Oh, man.
She got power five interest already. Already. I mean, she's that good. She's the point guard. She makes the goal. So if you think you can stop Nyla Wilson, okay, she might have a bad night. Savannah Dawson can shot 30. Any three of them girls I just named, Tamani Harris, Savannah Dawson, Nyla Wilson, can give you 30 any given night.
Wow.
You cannot stop them.
Yeah. Well, I know to beat OP by 40, that's a statement.
Yeah.
Okay. They won't play it.
Yeah.
And I think in that game was Tamani Harris only had 10 points.
Damn.
So, yeah, she only had 10 points. Nyla, that was the Nyla Wilson and Savannah Dawson show.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the same thing I heard. So if you guys, I released it on Saturday, premiered, but I promoted it today. We just did an episode with the Grassfield head girls varsity coach, Coach Alan Jones, and he's Grassfield is doing very well this year. But he was saying, man, that's all he could talk about was those two teams. He said, I said, what would be your ideal? What would you consider to make that you've had a successful season? Like, how would you look back? He said, I would consider our season a success to be able to make this region playoffs. He said, just to make it, because, and then if you can win a game in that regionals, like you're doing great, but you don't want to be 7 or 8 because you ain't got a chance. Like all he could talk about was those two programs, and so I would say go check that out, episode 222. With Grassfield head coach Alan Jones, but he was just saying that same thing. That's all he could say is how great those teams are.
Yeah, wow. I mean, Thomasdale is ranked 21 in max preps in the country right now. They went down to South Carolina and then they went to North Carolina and won both of those tournaments there. So they put up those, like I said, just take your pick. Any game they play, Tamani Harris, I mean, let's put it this way. They played Princess Anne, scrimmage Princess Anne, beat Princess Anne almost by 30.
Whoa.
Adania Doja team.
I know.
Yeah. That was a closed thing. Tamani Harris had 27 as a freshman. Then they play Rutgers Prep. Now, let's go ahead and I'm gonna pump my brakes now. Rutgers Prep, best player didn't play, but they won that game by 3. But like I said, outside of that, Thomasdale had really had any competition. They played John Marshall girls this upcoming Thursday. They beat Stewart, which got the number 15 best player in the country, Sanaa Gray. They beat them at the buzzer. But basically what it comes down to is Manchester. Manchester got that big monster down there, Pete Woolfolk's daughter, Mia Woolfolk, that's committed to Georgia already.
Wow.
Yeah, all those Boo girls, man. Savannah Dawson, Nyla Wilson. Boo just already said this pretty much then called up Tamani Harris. She's gonna be playing 17s this year too.
The question about these girls games, how are the crowds? big crowds down there for the girls'
There was
games?
a big crowd at the Thomasdale Hopewell game the other day.
Okay.
The first game against, I think it was, who did Thomasdale play? The first couple of games, the Freedom game was pretty packed. Can't remember who they played, but Thomasdale games has been, because we've been kind of, pushing them, you know what I'm saying? I'm just upset because we can't see the Manchester Thomasdale game in the regular season. We're only going to see it in the regional championship.
Wow.
Yeah.
None of those three teams wanted to play each other, which I just totally don't understand. That's why 757 and 703, those area codes kind of look at us kind of like, well, they're battle tested. They don't mind playing each other, but for some reason, we can't get these three teams to play each other. You got a Power 5 commit in Laney Grant, U.S. Olympic, 22 in the nation in her class. Mia Woolfolk ranked in the top 100 in her class of 2024, going to Georgia. And then you got these three studs with Thomasdale in the same county.
See, this is what I would do if I were VHSL. Like football, I would rezone the playoffs, have Thomasdale play a Fairfax team, have Manchester play a Princeton County team.
Well, they will. No, they will. So, Jay, this is what will happen when you get to the state quarterfinals, because those will probably be 1 and 2. Just one got to go on the road, one going to be at home.
Okay.
They will do that for the state quarterfinals. So they can meet again in the state semis, right, Larry?
Yeah, and that's what happened last year when Thomasdale and Manchester met at the Norfolk Scope for the regional championship.
That's
Manchester,
right.
Thomasdale beat them. And then when they played in the state semis, after Thomasdale beat Gainesville in overtime, Thomasdale was up by double digits at halftime on Manchester. Manchester came back and beat them, I think, almost by 20.
Wow.
So again, and now just to put a little side note in there, now these classifications, each classifications have different rules. Now, last year when you went to the Norfolk Scope, Thomasdale and Manchester was there. Hardly anybody was in the seats. Now, there were some bylaws that was passed that if you got two teams in this that are from a outside region, let's say for instance, Dale and Manchester meet again, and the predetermined site for the championship is at the Scope, they have passed the bylaws that said, okay, now, instead of that game being in Norfolk, they can actually move that game to Richmond.
Wow.
That should.
Right.
They should.
And in Class 5, I know Class 5, that's a rule. I'm not sure if that's for 6, but I know for a fact that rule has actually been changed. So that's something that you also want to look at.
I remember people talking about that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, nobody from Norfolk cares about Norfolk State. I mean, Thomasdale and Manchester.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be like if the two teams were from, that made the finals were, 2 Division 6 teams from Chesapeake, but the games were being played at VCU. Why should they all have to travel up to VCU if they're from the 757 or whatever? So,
exactly.
I'm glad they're doing that.
Yeah. So thank God for James River, because James River moved down from 6 to 5 this year.
That's what I heard. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and Glen Allen.
Yep.
So now James River is probably going to pretty much be the runaway favorite for that, because Byrd is down this year, so you really won't see them at all. So James River and pretty much everybody else.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is there any team we haven't mentioned that could surprise folks? It may not have to be at that Class 6 that we know is loaded. Maybe it's at 4 or 5, and we're all looking at these top teams, but somebody that maybe has that sophomore that just hadn't broken out yet. But if they ever get it and figure it out over this next month and the playoffs, that could surprise us and maybe advance the states.
Oh God!
And that's on the boys or girls side. If you could think of one team, it might surprise.
On the boys side, I would say Henrico.
I was gonna say Henrico. I was gonna say what about? I was getting ready to say Henrico.
What I like about that coach, he came from a Division II or Division III. He was a college coach, and last year his biggest thing was he brought in his system, and he wanted those players adapt to his system. And this year, he actually changed that because he has a lot of athletes on that team. And what he did is he adapted his system to the players that he has.
Mark,
it actually worked out, and I talked to a lot of people out there. He went and got a couple of players that played on that state championship team in Henrico. They had Buckingham on. I got a couple of assistant coaches on the team from there. So it actually worked out. So Henrico, if anybody is just going to surprise anybody, I will have to go with Henrico. I'm not sold on James River just what I've seen on film. I haven't seen him personally. In Manchester, again, I don't know. But I'm just going to say Henrico.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good stuff. Now, we've already started talking about a couple players. You talked about Keith Jennings. You've mentioned a lot on the girls' side. Who are some of maybe other standout players in the area that we may not have mentioned yet, or who are some of the ones that are on the download that nobody really knows about, but they're going to be something to look out for, especially as we get towards the playoffs?
Well, John Marshall, man, that kid Aiden Algebright, man, he is special. I mean, everybody talk about Red Thompson. He makes the engine go. And of course, Latrell Almond, that sensational sophomore they got. But I'm gonna tell you, that Aiden Algebright, that guy is efficient. You might have Red Thompson that might score. I think he scored 39 on Sunday. But Aiden, he's gonna give you a quiet 25, and he's probably gonna be maybe 8 or 10 from the field, 4 for 4 from 3. He has that type of game. And you'll probably be like, Dad, he had 25, yeah, he's one of those guys that people don't talk about, that I personally like. Then, of course, my personal favorite is KJ White, who never, for whatever reason, because he plays at Verona, he doesn't have anybody. He is it. So if he doesn't go, Verona doesn't go anywhere. And he won 2 back-to-back state championships. Last year, he pretty much did it all by himself. He had a supporting cast, but because he's overshadowed by the greatness of John Marshall, he don't get that talk or that he should get. I mean, we know him around here, but statewide, people don't really hear about him. Now, they played Woodside up there at the VHSL Live, and he put on the show.
Okay.
So you talk to Steph about that. Anytime you get Steph Welsh approval of him, then, hey, he good. Outside of that, man, like I said, everybody else, I just have to, just like I see, I think, matter of fact, I give you one more. Shamon Rosser of Henrico, really young, athletic wing. He's really good. I think he's one of those sleepers that might sneak up on you, be like, okay, man, I see what he's doing here, stuff like that. So he's one of those guys. He's one of those sleeper guys that keep an eye on for Henrico.
Okay.
What about regards to the girls' coaching? Which coach has impressed you the most on the girls' side?
I'm gonna go Rasheed Wright in Manchester, and this is why I say that. They lost to James River, and I was killing him. I was killing him. I mean, I'm sorry, Manchester lost to James River, which James River, they should have beat James River at least by 25 points. Laney Grant dropped 43 on them. I was at that game, and I was killing him. I was like, bruh, you got all these lethal shooters around your team, but he made that adjustment. Then I don't think Manchester, they beat Osborne Park by 25. They went and played Princess Anne, beat Princess Anne too, down at the boot tournament. They played Bishop McNamara, lost to them by 6.
Ooh.
They beat Riverdale Baptist, which is a private school up there in Maryland.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
So, and they beat them on back-to-back dates. So they went 2-1 in the Boo Williams tournament. So to me, that impressed me the most because you lose to Laney, which I think that when they play them again, they should beat Laney and them. But when you come back and beat Osborne the way you did and play in that gauntlet in the tournament with Boo had, and you went 2-1, hey man, he really impressed me with that.
That's good.
Okay. So what about this? Because you all have outstanding players and outstanding coaches. Is there a coach, and I'm just going to throw one out there, and I'll talk to you about this offline, that we're not thinking about because we haven't heard about an overall talented team or the record doesn't stand out. But what about the coaching job being done at Cosby? Is that something that can overcome some things that maybe advance and surprise some folks? because they kind of got some tricks up their sleeve, or it's just Class 6 a wrap? So maybe we got
Class
to get
6 a
through.
wrap. Class
That's what.
6 a
Okay.
wrap. Ain't nobody beating them two teams.
Okay.
We basically we're just sitting here waiting for the regional championship in 6, wherever that game is going to be, and then they're going to turn around and play what a week later or 2 weeks later, whatever how that works out, in the semifinals against each other. So that's all we're waiting on,
Okay.
because there's nobody in Northern Virginia gonna beat them. They're gonna beat whoever they play in Northern Virginia. They're gonna beat by 20 points. So sorry, that's just what it is. Because there's nobody in the state that can check Mia Woolfolk. Nobody. She's too big. She's too strong. And if you try to double and triple team her, then they're gonna kick it out to Rain Wright, Leah Hampton, or Finley Weaver, or KK. They got 4 shooters.
Okay. What about on the boys' side, but not, let's say, not in Class 2 where we know John Marshall has stuff locked down. But is there a team with the old crafty coach that's gonna maybe surprise some folks in 3, 4, 5, or 6 on the boys' side?
Of course, Class 3, you always got Hopewell.
I don't even know their record, but I'm always a Kendrick Warren fan. So
who fan?
But Kendrick Warren, but maybe not him. But is there anybody that can surprise folks, pull one over, and get out there and win, and maybe even runner up in the region, but advance the stakes and surprise somebody from another region?
I'm hearing James River, but again, I have to get out there and see. If I had to pick one, I'm thinking Manchester will probably be the favorite to win, but I would probably say James River. And then again, like I said, I haven't seen. I want to say Highland Springs, but they lost a lot, man. Yeah. They lost a lot. They just got really good coaching. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody can pull it off, it could probably be them. But they lost their best 2 players, and then Christian Martin ain't even playing.
But they're now in 6.
And they're in 6.
5, and they're in 6, yeah. That makes it hard, man, because 6 is so bad.
5 is probably going to come down to maybe LC Bird, Hermitage. That's probably going to be that matchup there. But of course, statewide, it's probably Woodside is going to win that. Woodside or Minchville, between those 2 programs.
Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good stuff. Good info. All right. Jay, any thoughts, any questions before we go to our last few?
Okay. He answered my questions.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so, I didn't even get to my girls in the private, the only private school.
Go ahead and highlight
Sanaa Green.
Private schools that we need to hear about.
Yeah, you got Sanaa Green. Sanaa Green, number 15 ranked player in the country. Right now, looking at their record, it's not so impressive because they lost to John Marshall. They lost to Highland Springs. They went to Tennessee and played in some top tournaments there. They're going to play, I think Stewart plays Minchville next Saturday. So they've been playing every top team, just like has Osborne Park. Everybody who's tough, they got them on their schedule. So that's going to help them. Norfolk Christian is also good too. That's down there. So yeah.
I saw them last time.
You've seen them. Exactly. They got a 6'1" point guard.
Yeah. They're rusty. They have a 6'8" center who can run well. She's only a sophomore, but 6'8" and run. Give her 2 years.
Yeah, she's one of Boo girls.
Good gracious. Yeah, so all right, now let's wrap this up with this. Let's get both of you guys kind of general thoughts on some of the teams you think have a good chance to win it all, no matter what class. Larry, you can speak to 804 region, but Jay, you chime in. You covering a lot of games. You're covering Freedom boys and girls, and you do Foothill basketball. So tell us any teams that you think can win state championships this year, private or public, in that 804 area, Larry.
I guess I'll go down, just give you my picks. John Marshall will win Class 2 without question.
Boys.
Class 3, that's going to be wide open. I mean, Hopewell is there. They have an outside shot, but I'm going to just say the field on that one. Class 4 is going to be Verona and maybe somebody out west.
What
Those
about
one of those teams over there in Roanoke.
Hampton boys. You talking about boys or girls right now?
Oh, this on the boys' side.
Okay, boy. Hampton boys are pretty decent too, though.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So that could be that there.
Okay.
Verona is
Now I know
not
you're telling me
as
about the teams in your area, but I'm just.
yeah.
I mean, no, you're telling me who can win the states, but I know that's one of the teams I've heard of in Class 4.
Yeah, because they played Patriot too. I think Patriot. Did they beat Patriot? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. So that's a big win for them.
6'9". You know.
Yeah, that's a big win for them.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't count any team out in 7-5-7 because they're battle tested. They go try to play each other, which that's the knock that I have on 804 in the last couple of years. We won't play anybody. It's John Marshall's the only team that will say, okay, we will play you. Verona, they will play you, but it's a little bit more political because they're going to play the point system. So, it has to make sense for them. Right. John Marshall, they're class 2, so they can afford to play everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because, they going to get points. So, Verona play them and lose. That could hurt them come playoff time. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay.
All
right. Any other teams that stand out that could win state that you think like you pretty much who did you say you think on the for class? We know girls, class 6 boys. Who would you
class 6 boys? That's probably I'm going to go ahead and give that to maybe Northern Virginia. The only two teams that the only two teams that we got that will probably participate in that tournament will probably be James River and Manchester, and I don't see them as championship teams.
Okay, all right, yeah, and they've got to they're one of those teams that has to beat Patriot to probably advance.
Yeah.
Patriot is taking their lumps, but it's good. It's gonna make them stronger as the year goes on. They had a big game. We talked about it. Jay and I were at when they played South Lakes.
And I just think that Patriot has played a tougher schedule than Manchester and James River, and that's going to count.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For me, on the boys Division 6, see if Hampton and Woodside were Division 6, then I wouldn't say this. But I'm picking Patriot for Division 6 boys.
What?
And the girls, this is for a state championship.
Yeah, okay.
And for the girls, it's between Manchester and Thomasdale. Because Thomasdale, I mean, I saw that game against OP. You don't like WNBA girls out there. So, now here's the thing. Now, this will be my concern for a Thomasdale or a Manchester is playing at Gainesville or at Osborne Park.
Mm-hmm.
They're home cooking.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. Last year, I would have worried about that. More so with Thomasdale because they didn't have a closer. Now because last year when Gainesville should have beat Thomasdale last year. I was at that game.
That's what I heard.
They should have beat them, but Savannah Dawson closed the deal when Nyla Wilson fouled out. Now I understand that Gainesville, one of their players was hurt and she didn't play.
Correct.
So I don't know what that was about or whatever, but this year with Tamani Harris, she's just a very, very smart basketball player. And with that, picking her up, I think, that's going to help them get over the hump. That if it was just Dawson and Wilson, it would probably be much tougher. But with adding Tamani this year, I can kind of relax and kind of kick my feet up and just kind of be like, you know what? Just go ahead and smoke me a cigar and I'm good because I ain't got to worry about that. Thomasdale, or Manchester, who going to stop Mia Wolfer?
I know. You're right.
They can have all the home cooking all they want to. But I tell you for this, if you can't handle the press that Thomasdale got, you're not going to beat them. The best way to get Thomasdale, if you slow the game down a little bit and make them play half court. That's how you're going to beat them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Man, I feel like I've learned so much. Now, I'm going to have to steal your info if somebody asks me and I'm on another show. But that's why I got you on here, Larry, because we know you know your stuff.
Well, he does.
And like I said, that Richmond is a hotbed for basketball talent. But I like how you keeping it real. Like this, and you'll tell us when these are great Richmond area teams, but they're not the standard of normal Richmond quality. We'll say high caliber players, but the teams are probably still good. But you guys have put out some consistently high caliber D1 athletes. Last thing I want to close with, and you guys probably would agree, this isn't really a debate, but man, we people all, and that's why I wanted you to talk about girls basketball. People always think about boys basketball, but man, and especially in the state of Virginia. I think the state of Virginia has consistently put out some of the best girls basketball players in the country. And especially when you look at our top girls, let's say our top 15 girls every year, despite class, compared to the boys on a national level, our girls, it ain't even close. And I'm saying if you include boys private and public compared to our girls private and public, it's not close. When you look at the girl side now, somebody might say, "Oh, Kendall Dudley, she plays at a school in DC, but she's from VA. She's
Right.
from VA. You know,
Right.
it's a lot of talent coming out of this state. I mean, for years, I've called a lot of these games, but I'm like, like I don't think there's nobody can dispute that. But tell me if I'm wrong.
When I do a
You
private
talk,
school,
yeah,
I do
go ahead,
private,
Jay.
I see the talent in Virginia from Flint Hill. The girls
Yeah.
come in from private schools across the state. Like last Saturday, Norfolk Christian, man, I was like, wow, these girls are good. So on my end, I'm seeing it as an announcer. Go ahead, Larry. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're right. I mean, you look at the list. If you look at right now between the class of 2024 and 2026, I can go ahead and add 27 with Tamani Harris. You probably got, right now you got at least 4 girls in the state, including Kendall Dudley, that's in the top 100. Woo! Kendall Dudley is top 5 in her class, I think, right?
Yeah.
Then you got Mia Woolfolk is in the top 100. She's going to Georgia. Lainey Grant is 22. That's at James River, and 25. And then you got Sanaa Green at Stewart. Is number 15 in the ESPN rankings.
Yep.
Wow.
And that doesn't include, look, and people forget, like they're having a down year, but Paul the Six girls have traditionally been
right,
dominant.
exactly. You got Laura
They're a
Williams
little
going to
down this
USC.
year, but that talent, and a lot of it does come from a lot of parts of Virginia.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Laura Williams going to USC, that's at PVI.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and then you look at then you got those girls down there at S3 that Star Willis got over there, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's just so much talent, man, that I just think they just get overlooked. But again, and that didn't even include the Thomas Dale 2 girls. I didn't even put them in there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but that just goes to show, man, just how deep and how much basketball we've gotten. That's why I just want to do my job and just help try to promote these girls, man, and get people to get back on here. Because when I talked to Boo Wham, Boo said, you don't really see the boys side that much. I said, no, I don't. I'd rather be on the girl side. I spent so much time between the spring and the summer following Boo Wham's 17 EYBL girls this last year. And I want to do more of it this year. And I'm telling you, man, I learned so much. Friday night, I was up at the Bishop Ireton Mount Vernon game up at the St. James. And you talk about some high-level basketball.
Yes, that was the other school. I was going to say Bishop Ireton.
And then got Maddie McDaniel. She's another one going to South Carolina at McNamara.
Yep.
No, when I did the game on Saturday, I posted about the 6'8" girl. Larry's like, "Oh, I know her. She's a Bill Williams girl." I'm like, man.
No, my son played at Bishop Ireton a few years ago. Played football, but some of his best friends there were the girls basketball players, and he hung out. And he was like, "Dad, that you would not believe how good." And everybody don't see it this year, but I'm gonna tell you, they got some talent. They got some talent. Them girls.
Yeah, you got Nyla Brooks. I forgot all about Nyla Brooks. Nyla Brooks is number 16 in the ESPN 20 class of 2025. That's at Bishop Ireton. University of Tennessee commit. Dropped 28 on Mount Vernon Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a Boo girl. She's another Boo Williams girl.
Yeah, that's something, man.
You know what I'm saying? So that that's what I'm saying, man. I'm sorry about that, Nala, but that should have named her first and just seen her. But so you pretty much got at least 10 girls that we just talked about that's in the top 100 in the country between 24 and 26.
Yeah.
And they call it Tamani Harris a U.S. Olympic talent.
Ooh. Now, I think we do a good job. Virginia Tech has been pretty good, but imagine if we could keep even more of those young ladies in the state. Mm-hmm. Everybody you mentioned is leaving the state.
Well, yeah.
For right now.
For right now, I know one
at Virginia, and I'm not even going to go. I mean, I love ODU and VCU and James. I'm saying teams that are in Power 5 conferences, UVA and Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech is one of the best girls programs in the country. Mm-hmm. Like, we were able to keep some of them here.
Let me say this before we're done. Like Larry said, the 5 girls he mentioned, they played at UVA or Virginia Tech. They're in the Final Four.
Yeah. Yes.
That's it. They're Final Four. You get Kendall Dudley, these girls. Oh yeah, they're in the Final Four.
Yeah, you got 3. You got 3 of Tamika Dudley's girls going to one at UCLA and 2 more going out there.
Yeah. And Kendall's best Kendall's best basketball coach was me when she was in the 6th grade. But no, man, this is good.
But yeah, man. So it's I would like to see these girls stay here. Like I said, Lainey has been committed to UNC since the 10th grade. Mia just recently committed. Dawson, she's probably going to leave the state. Wilson is probably the one that probably will remain, that has the strongest possibility of being here. I'll give that little bit of inside information. And I can tell you right now, she's talented where she might not just be the freshman of the year. If she actually stays in state, she actually may be the player of the year in that conference. If she stays in state. That's how good she is.
Man. And look, we just talking about the kids that are in high school now. We don't have time. We could go back. We could talk about just the last 4. Let's just go last 4. We had fun. We had so many people that would be just leading our state D1 programs. But thank you, Larry. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you a chance to go ahead on. And if any closing remarks you got, go ahead on it, or things you want to promote, let us know.
No, I'll just let people know, man, just check out some of, my lives on Monday and Tuesday night, because a lot of this information, a lot of these players who I'm talking about actually will be guest on. A lot of times, we just schedule something and we talk to them, sometimes I'll do if you ball, you get the call, so if you ball, I might just give you a call and just say, see what happens, stuff like it. So a lot of these athletes you'll see on the show, on my IG, again, you follow me at BALLINVA _podcast _804, man. You'll see a lot of these interviews. And I got a Sanaa Green interview that will be out on February the 2nd. So she's ESPN girl. She plays up there in Northern Virginia with Elevated Elite on the Adidas circuit.
Well, thank you, Larry Legend. You are the man. You know your stuff. And then Jay, thank you for standing in tonight. And then all the experience you bring as an announcer and for 2 Good Girls programs. And so we want to give our love to Virginia High School basketball, especially that 804 area. And again, thank you very much. So this has been Rusty, Larry, and Jay for the Kirk and Byrd Show.